Welcome to Alberta Football Uncensored. I'm your host, T.J. Henderson. With me, as always, is my co-host, Omari Fraser. Today, excuse me, a little bit quicker of an episode here. We've just basically got the AFL Championship game to kind of dive into, our thoughts, our predictions, our opinions on a few things. But first, I've got to obviously, Omari, address the Grand Prairie situation that I had to deal with this week. So, obviously okay, so here's the thing. First and foremost, if you've listened to this podcast, which I know a lot of people have done for a long time, you understand, I think you at least know at this point that I'm a person that is always just going to speak the truth of what I believe to be the truth of my opinions, because I really don't care what anybody else thinks about my opinions. The only opinion I care about is my own, and that's just how I live my life, because I gotta live with me and being me every single day. So I don't care. I'm gonna say a bunch of stuff. If my teammates over the years could tell you the same thing. I mean, I'm not a super agreeable person. I don't, for the sake of agreeing with people, just agree with people. If I think someone's being an idiot, I'll tell them they're being an idiot. And if I think someone's opinion is dumb, I'll tell them that it's dumb. And if you try to come after me and troll me on Facebook, I will come right back at you. And so I'm not one to back down. I don't really care about what people think. I mean, we do this podcast. What's great is I can just speak my mind and be true to myself and say all the things that I want to say, which is a lot of fun. And I think for the most part, people enjoy our podcast, obviously, because they keep talking about it all the time. And I was saying, last week, Omar, to you, your team was chirping me about the podcast and saying it was a terrible podcast, and then I reminded them that you're also on the podcast, and then they kind of forgot about that for a second. But again, just we love being able to bring this to you guys. I love being able to just be myself and tell the truth, even if it pisses people off, because I really just don't give a fuck, to be honest with you. If people get pissed off about my opinion, I mean, it doesn't affect me whatsoever. So I went after the Samson Coward guy on Grand Prairie because he's been trolling me for like 2 years on Facebook. I didn't even think he was a real person. I literally thought this was like somebody in the AFL that didn't, that I, pissed off or something along the way, which of course there's a lot of those people. I thought it was a troll account because it'd be like every single comment or thing that would happen on Facebook with me winning an award or getting an all-star or an opinion I had or whatever, they would just come and just attack me. I was like, who is this person? I just kind of ignored him for a long time, never heard of him. Apparently this person, Samson Coward, is a real person. Like, he actually plays on the Grand Prairie football team. Just never seen him show up or in the stats or when I play against him, I've never noticed him or heard his name being called or anything like that. But apparently he is real. And so then it got to a point where I had to then respond to him last week on the podcast and basically took my anger and my frustration, not anger, I shouldn't say anger. I'm not angry about it. I'm annoyed. I'm highly annoyed with Facebook. And, the worst thing of social media is it's made Chihuahuas think that they're lions. So everyone's real tough on Facebook, and it just drives me nuts because they never can do it or can't back it up in person. Anyways, I took my annoyance more out on the Grand Prairie team and basically said they would get their ass whooped and all this stuff. And I shouldn't have, because I actually love the Grand Prairie team. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a long time, you know I talk good about them all the time. Amari, yourself as well. We've been really high on Grand Prairie on this podcast. We call out the players that they have. I've talked about number 5, Ty Cluett, a lot this year on the podcast because he's just a beast and he shows up on film. He shows up on the field. You've got a great DB core there. A lot of good things about that team that we've talked about. But my annoyance ran over to the team, and I kind of regret that now because they won the game, and then obviously I ate my words about that. In my heart, I was hoping Grand Prairie would win, and I thought Grand Prairie would win. Just like in the regular season game when I was the only one to predict, and I predicted it here on the podcast and on the Facebook forum, that Grand Prairie would beat the Jets, and everyone thought I was an idiot, and of course they did beat them. So my annoyance for Samson just made me rail against the team. But I want to take that back now, obviously, because, and I'm not, hey, look, I will call myself out when I'm wrong. And I was wrong. That team showed up, played their butts off, had some amazing plays by some really good players, and I was really impressed watching the film and watching how they rallied around each other. When they got that fumble return for a touchdown, I was excited for the team, just seeing how excited they were, because I know how good that would have felt in that moment. Their offense couldn't really get going, but their defense picked them up, and that's kind of been a lot of the story. Their defense is very good. They've been good for their entire history of that team. And so, they've done such a great job down there. Chad Weeb's done a great job with the team. The head coach there is doing a great job, and a really impressive performance. And you know what? Even though I think that Samson's a bit of a clown for constantly trolling me, and even though I think that when they win that game, first thing they Samson Coward and Will Bacon, this other loser on that team, the first thing that they did was run into the locker room after they won the biggest game in the history of their franchise, got on Facebook, and then started coming after me, talking about how I'm not playing this weekend, as if that's some sort of gotcha to me, considering I have more championship appearances than that team has wins in their entire history. And I love golfing, and I love not getting hit all the time and having a headache every day. So I'm feeling really good, just sitting back and golfing. But that annoyed me. Will Bacon, Samson Coward, I think you guys are losers. I think the trying to attack me and come at me on Facebook is very annoying. But the team, in of itself, great football team. Really, really impressive. Great win. You got to give them that credit. And, man, I hope they go give the Gators a game. We're going to get into that right now. But kind of what are your thoughts on any of that, if you have any? Or we can get into the game as well this week.
Hey, I'm going to say I feel like it's between you and him, and it's been Bruno. But the one question I got is, was there ever, when you guys played each other, Irish versus Cowboys, did this ever brew up on the field at all, or was it just the game happened and no one really knew?
Well, that's really funny, because Samson didn't show up to that game, and he was literally trolling me the week or two before that, and I was looking forward to seeing this person in real life, and he wasn't at that game, a game that we ended up winning 40-0 and some terrible wins, and before Grand Prairie got their quarterback, not that would have mattered at that time, because no one was throwing the ball anyways that day. But no, he didn't show up. I still, I only know he's real because other people have confirmed he's real, and apparently he took a wide receiver screen for a touchdown. So I guess good on him for that. That's the first time he's ever showed up in the stats, as far as I know. So he is real, but I still actually haven't met the guy who's been trolling me for 2 years.
Interesting, and I feel like with what you said last week, with how next game you want to put up that $100 a rep one-on-ones.
Yeah,
I was like, this sounds like a destroying video when you were giving that, you were putting that out there.
Well, yeah, I guess I was putting that out there, and I was dead serious about that. That's another interesting moment because I was willing to put up the $1,000 because I know I'm not going to lose a single rep, and they both basically said it's too rich for their blood, which I find hilarious because it's only too rich for your blood if you know you're going to lose. So. I can't. I got a baby and my wife's on mat leave. I can't afford to lose $1,000, but I'll put $1,000 up because I'm not going to lose a single cent. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Challenge is still going to be open to both Will Bacon and Samson Coward for next year. That challenge will last. 5 reps on offense, you cover me. 5 reps on defense, I cover you. $100 a rep, and I'm more than willing to extend that to golf as well. So option will remain open to those two on Grand Prairie when we play them next year.
And then one thing, because I was doing I've been doing my social media tours. I've been having the games at the Gators. I was at the Gators practice field yesterday, and the money for reps conversation came up. I think one thing you want to answer to the league, is that open to any other players, or is it a discounted rate for other players?
Money for reps?
Yeah. Money for one-on-one reps during the halftime.
No, 100%. That offer is open to anybody who wants to do it. And because the reality is there's not a player in the league that plays both receiver and DB as well as I do. And I mean, if you could name somebody that does, I mean, send them my way. But I think that my career speaks for itself, and what I've done as a receiver and a DB. So even if I were to lose a couple reps on one side, I'm probably going to win more reps than I lose overall. Because if you look at someone like Ben Nadiak, like he'll probably get some reps on me. He'll get some jump balls against me for sure. I love Ben. Can he cover me? And I don't know. And I'm not calling out Ben as a receiver because he's awesome, and like I said, he could definitely win some reps against me. He has. I've practiced against for a long time, and I love Ben. But I don't think he can cover me. Like, he's not a DB. So like, yeah, and the best receivers in the league aren't DBs. So you'd have a tough time, winning money against me. But yeah, I mean, why not? Let's put that. If anyone wants to do it, we can set that up for halftime. Like, challenge goes out to anyone. You got to cover me for 5 reps, and I'll cover you for 5 reps. We each can pick our quarterback that's at the game. If your team's quarterback is better than my team's, I might choose yours, and vice versa, right? Yeah, we could set some standards and what we consider to be a win on each rep and whatnot. So, like, bad throw from the quarterback, maybe we redo that rep. The rep has to be a good throw that's catchable, blah blah blah, whatever. But yeah, why not? That could be really fun.
We're out here making our own destroying videos. That's fun. I guess now taking it into this upcoming weekend, this is now where I think the whole league has Gators winning, which I think is pretty straightforward. But I'm more interested to see how the Cowboys can absolutely wreak havoc, because they got nothing to lose. No, I think they got nothing to lose. They can show up, empty the clip, maybe even maybe a couple blanks, and like just try everything to try and get points, advantage, mismatches, all that, which I think is going to be the opportunity for an exciting game.
Yeah, and you know what? I think, like, I was kind of thinking about this before doing the podcast. Like, how I was asking myself, how does Grand Prairie win the game? Like, if there's a situation, and I'll get your opinion on this too, but my thoughts were it's going to be very, very difficult. Like, I would set this line at Gators minus 24, and I think that might be being generous. I think that the not having anything to lose can work in certain situations, but not against this Calgary Gators team. I think that they take things too seriously. When you've got someone like Kurt really running the helm there, there's zero chance that he's going to let anybody slip in concentration or too much confidence or overlooking Grand Prairie. That's just not going to happen with the Gators. They have too many high-quality leaders. They have too many high-quality players who have played for a long time. You've got captains of that team like Kurt, like Bryce, like Ben, who have been around and done this before and understand what it takes. And having played with Ben for a number of years, I can tell you, like, he's not a guy that's going to let people slip. He's not going to be a guy that's going to let people be overconfident. So they just have a bunch of those guys. Obviously leading the way is Kurt there too. So I don't think that's an advantage for Grand Prairie. I think that the only way that Grand Prairie wins, number one, they get really lucky, like fumbles that they can scoop and score, interceptions, off of a tip ball or something like that. Or it's tough to intercept Chris Merchant. He's just so good. So, but Grand Prairie's DBs are very good. Like, I'll say Grand Prairie's secondary is very good. So, like, lucky breaks is number one. Having the Gators, make mistakes that they haven't made before, getting lucky breaks. Number two, they have to, and I don't know how they do this, right? The how you do it is not the same as this is something you need, but the how would be to control time of possession. And that is like, you've got to keep the Gators offense off the field. You have to have drives that are 7 minutes long, even if you don't score. You have to put in plays that are going to get you 4 or 5 yards a gain. Like, even if Grand Prairie was like throwing bombs and getting long touchdowns and doing it quick, I think that's a huge disadvantage for them because the Gators are going to outmatch them in that. So the Grand Prairie needs to slow the game down. They need to keep the Gators offense off the field and slow the game down. And when their defense is out there, they've got to be bend, not break. They've got to make them kick field goals. They've got to hold them out of the end zone. I don't know how you do that. Again, this offense is stacked, but that's how you do it. And number 3 would be field position. So, and that's tied into time of possession. You've got to make the Gators march the field. You've got to make the Gators have long drives, even if they score. You've got to make them play from their side of the field and have to march the ball, and you've got to take away the deep game. You're not taking away Bryce Harper with that offensive line and the way he runs the ball. But if you make them have to run the ball and you can hold Bryce to 4 or 5 yards of carry, even if he's getting first down after first down, if they take 7-8 minutes to score, that's a win for Grand Prairie. So those are my 3 keys, and I think the only 3 ways. But it starts with having some unbelievable luck.
Yeah. Lady luck will have to be, I can see being maybe on their side. Maybe if they ride into Air G on some horses, they get that Yellowstone vibe, maybe some intimidation happening. Never know.
Horses with rabbit feet and horseshoes and every single charm you can possibly think of.
On the second point I really want to touch on, did you get a chance to watch, I guess any of the film from our game with the Gators, the Wolfpack and Gators game?
I did, yeah. Yeah, I watched pretty much the entire first half and not much after that.
And this is now when I look at that game, like, I know it's tough because as a Wolf, we didn't really march, we didn't really like put up points or have anything like exciting, but probably one thing you notice is when Daryl was in, we were marching the field, and that was probably something that I think, doesn't really happen against the Gators. And I think end of the first, it was 0-0, I believe. I think it might have been 3-0, 0-0, but a closer range than it was last game. Sorry, what did you say there?
Yeah, no, I said, yeah, it was close, yeah.
And like we looked at that, and I was like, okay, like we're holding together, making plays, and we couldn't outlast. And I know it's a case where it's tough to say like, oh, we pieced him up like that because we didn't put any points up. Like the only thing we did was really, I think, march the ball, bend, don't break. That was their mentality. We got to see what Daryl could do, and that was about it. But I feel like if Grand Prairie can look at that film and see that, okay, like, not they need to copy Daryl's offense because I feel like it's pretty straightforward, but seeing how it was just like bit by bit, chop by chop, you got to chop the wood down to really progress the ball down the field. Because I think one thing where we faltered at was trying to do the deep shots, corners, seams, posts, anything deep. That's where we really got into some trouble there. But if guys are ready to lock in and pay the toll, where hey, if we're gonna go throw short, catch the ball, tank the hit, on to the next, and do that repetitively, that's where I feel like a gap has been shown to where you can really move the ball on the Gators. But with that method comes with a toll, because that was one thing where I think when I looked at the game, it was always either like a 5, a 3. I'm not sure if we had any outs. I think I got a few outs, but I was always caught, tackled right away. They hit well, so that's kind of where I feel like if they can implement that kind of game plan, slow it down, have 8-minute drives, be consistent, and like get to the point where you're in the red zone, but you're not going to take a deep shot in the red zone and piece your way in. Maybe that's a chance where they can just slow it down to their tempo and get some stops. Gives their defense a lot of time to get a break, go from there. And I think that's really one method where I think we're like hypothetically, GP walks away with a win here, where it's slow pace game, 17-16, win it on a field goal, something like that, just where it's just like, hey, we really got to control the game for the entire game, which I feel would be quite a task in itself.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm a coach for a game like this, with a team like Grand Prairie and a team like the Gators, I'm trying to find every small detail that I can to slow this game down. Like my number one priority is slow. Mm-hmm. I want time of possession. I want to win the field position battle. I want to be able to punt it deep and pin them deep and have our special teams be great. And I'm looking at doing things like every snap is snapped with 2 seconds on the play clock. Every snap. You let that clock run down. You take your time. You eat up every single possible second that you can when you have the ball in your possession to slow the game down and make the Gators have to or not be able to be on the field, their offense as much as they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the small details, and Grand Prairie has to do them all well. They have to think of every possible way they can to slow the game down. I think that's my opinion on how they can possibly keep it close. I don't, there's no amount of money that I'm betting on Grand Prairie to actually win this game. And that's less of a shot at them as it is just the Gators are at a different level. And I think we all know that. We all see that. I think the biggest hope, honestly, the biggest hope for everybody in the AFL is to have the Calgary Gators win this game and then win nationals in Ontario, and then all their guys retire. Because if that doesn't happen, we're in the same boat again next year. I feel like a lot of them will. Their biggest thing they're looking for is that on the road national championship, which is just so rare. It just does not happen in the CMFL history. It's only happened a couple times. The Wolfpack did it in 2008, I think was the last time. And Sault Ste. Marie came and beat Lloydminster in 2010. But it just doesn't happen. And so that's the last one off the bucket list for those Gators players. So hopefully they all retire. And the league can come back to a little parity next year. But I'm also cheering it. It would be awesome if it could be a close game. It would be awesome if Grand Prairie can hold with them. And I think you guys kind of laid the blueprint in that first quarter. The problem is it's just hard to hold those Gators off. Like even when we played them in the first game, it was 18-1 at half for them. And their first touchdown was when our punt returner fumbled it on our 2-yard line. So without that one, it's only 10-1 at halftime, and then we ended up getting blown out in the second half because they're not gonna let you stay in those games for very long.
Yeah, and I feel like as well you need the mentality of the guys to sustain that kind of slow play, because I imagine it's a slow play to where you're thinking like, okay, their defense will be, as a defense, I'm sure it'd be nice to like have a slow pace game. You control all those variables. As an offense, I'd hate a slow game, especially as explosive as the Gators have. Like, could you imagine? Like, I just think of like Xavier, for example. Like guy's a runner, great strides, everything. Loves to keep moving. I feel like the only way to see a guy like that where to slow him down is really just keep him off the field. That's the only really way you can really slow him down, because he's so good at everything he does. Side point, I've been hearing that he's good at everything. For everybody.
Well, here's the thing, okay? So I've known Xavier for a very long time. We first started playing together in 2014, and then him and I have crossed paths a lot outside of football. We actually worked together at Good Life Fitness as personal trainers. I've golfed with him a few times as well, and got to know him on a deeper level than even just football. And it is true that he is good at basically anything he wants to be good at, which is is what makes him such a problem in football. Like he wasn't even when he first came to the Bucks, he came as a corner and wore like linebacker from the 1995-1996 season shoulder pads. Like these things were massive. And I think he wore number 46, and like everyone's like, "Who is this guy?" And like these huge shoulder pads, and then he just came and did corner, and then he made this unreal catch. He went in at receiver one game against the Wolfpack and made like a body bending, diving backwards catch, and everyone's like, "Oh wow, that's pretty amazing." And then ever since then, everyone understands what he's done in the league. But if he's the thing with that is if he's on the sideline, you can't keep him down because he's probably just going to be like finding a pull-up bar and doing his daily 100 pull-ups, or going on the bench and doing his daily 100 push-ups. And I'm not even joking about that. When we worked as personal trainers at Good Life, yeah, that was like basically his workout. Like he's just like 100 pull-up and all different kinds of pull-ups, right? Different variations of pull-ups, 100 pull-ups, 100 push-ups, and then a bunch of other stuff. But that's just kind of his thing that he still does. And his golf game's pretty good. I convinced him to get a real driver. He had a Temu driver that he got for 1 cent. 1 cent Temu driver. It was like green and like It was a senior regular shaft flex. This thing was just ridiculous. Anyways, he hit my driver the other day or a couple of weeks ago when we went to Mickelson National, and he liked it. And then he went, I think he got himself a sim too, so it was hitting the driver well. But yeah, he is good at everything, and I know he wants to. I think this is going to be his last year, probably. So he probably wants to really end on another national championship.
Hey, nothing wrong with the Temu driver. I'm a Temu savant myself.
That's
Anytime they give me those
insane.
coupons, I get two free shipping. I get two free items shipped here. It makes you get the orders over $40. That's easy. I got like this sick tool set from them the other day,
Oh my god.
and like it's done its job.
One can only assume that Timo uses some serious child labor because like what is happening where you can get all these crazy deals and get a driver for 1 cent. Like I've just heard people make fun of Temu. I've never actually ordered on Temu, but man, maybe you're kind of convincing me to check this out after. I don't
Hey,
know, I
all you
might
gotta
have to.
do is like download it. Always use it when it gives you the coupons. All right, because I feel like that's the only time to really like get your best bang. Because then what you can do is like you get two free items. And you find like other items to get you over like the minimum shipping, and then that way then you get them four items for $40. $10 an item, and it's either going to be like a tool set, a driver. I think I got a wagon one time that was worth $60.
You got a
So like,
wagon? What do you wait. What do you mean a wagon?
yeah, like one of like the wagons you can put your kid in, toys in, haul boxes and all that, like a pull one.
What? That why I haven't heard the term I haven't heard anyone say wagon in like I didn't even like I forgot those even existed. Like I don't know why I'm so freaked out about that, but
Dude,
that's like I know exactly what you're talking about too, but I've just never heard anyone say wagon. I don't know why. That's just freaking me out. I don't know what's going on here.
hey, trust me. When like I went to Calaway Park the other day, we took our son for the first time to his amusement park and everything. Parents had wagons. They had like the pull ones and the push ones, so the kid could literally just like flop in with all their snacks, go to the next ride, and flop out. Oh, it's a wicked time. It's definitely a 100%. I highly recommend parenting move when the time
is
comes,
that
and you can even get one on Temu.
is that what made you buy the wagon because you saw them at Calaway Park?
No, I had the wagon for a while, but I saw it
Oh, okay.
fully being used at Calais
Right.
Park. I didn't bring it with me that time, but I was just like, oh, see, like everyone here's about wagons, and I was like, hey, next time, bring the wagon.
Well, now you know what I'm going to have to do now is so I have my superfood bakery that I run. A couple guys in the league have bought some of my stuff and have said some nice things about it. I happen to think they're pretty awesome, but I'm gonna have to make a superfood wagon wheel now, and it's gonna have to be the official the official treat of the AFL. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. It's like I invented all the stuff I made myself using trying to use the best ingredients possible. So I'll have to figure out how to do that with a wagon wheel, but. That might have to happen now. So I never thought we'd be talking about wagons on the podcast, but here we are.
Here we are, and I guess I know we're gonna make this episode quite short here, just as it's only the only thing happening. But you know, when you look at regular season and everything right now, like, what would you say your viewpoint has been on the league as overall standard? Has it risen? Has everyone tried to match the Gators? Was this a good year of football? Because a lot of things I've been hearing, it's been a good overall year, just flat out across the board.
I think, I mean, man, we could probably talk about this forever. I think there's been some good things. Obviously, Grand Prairie doing what they did this year, kind of shocking the league, making it to a final. I think that's a good thing. I think that's good for Grand Prairie football. I think that'll help their team. I think it'll help their presence. I don't think it's good when one team is beating every other team by 40 points. That's not a Gators problem. That's an everybody else's problem. I think people need to look at the Gators and start copying that, what they're doing. I think, I think people should reach out to Kurt and be like, "How are you recruiting all these guys? Like, what's kind of the the way that you go about that to convince guys that this is a place you want to play football." I think picking people's brains to find out what they're doing to be successful. People need to do that. And I don't want to hear it's just because they're in Calgary, they have 1 million people, because that's a load of crap. I mean, yeah, obviously they have a lot of people, but the Wolfpack are in the same city and struggled to get 20 guys for a number of years until this year, when you guys put in quite the effort to build your team, and you guys did a great job of that. So it's only a little bit to do with that. So I would like to see us have a league where the first place and last place teams weren't separated by 100 points. I would like to see a league where the first place and fourth place team aren't separated by 50 points. There's obviously always going to be the best team and the worst team, but how can we bring that closer together and have more competitive games that are more enjoyable for people to watch? Because it's not fun to watch or to play in games where you win by 60 points. Like, you can't tell me the Gators enjoy knowing they're going to beat teams by 60 points before they show up. Like, I mean, I don't know. At least I wouldn't. That doesn't seem like it's a lot of fun. So we need to figure that out. Teams need to get better at recruiting. I still think there's not being enough done at the board level to enhance our league. I mean, I haven't been shy about saying that. I think that there were some positive moves this year. But I think that there's so much more growth potential that the league has, with league-wide sponsorships, streaming deals, a new trophy, which I've been talking about forever. Like, it just would be nice to have a new trophy to really show the beauty of the league and give people something that they could, feel that's a little bit bulky and fun to lift over a head, and not be as old as the one that we currently have. I think there's just so much room for improvement. Outside the league, I think that the three leagues, our league, the Ontario League, and the new Power 5 League, need to come together and create a true national championship. And I would extend that to the Maritime League. And I think there's a Quebec League too, but they kind of play at a different time than us, so that might not work. But I would like to see at least having the Power 5 thrown in there. And because I think GTA played in a 3-team league this year, so I think that's kind of trash. And I think the Power 5 teams are good, and I think they should be included in it. I think that logistically, we can't trade it off where, like, the Alberta team plays the Power 5 team and then the winner of that plays the Ontario. There's just too much travel involved. But I think the Power 5 playing the Ontario League and then that winner playing the Alberta League is something that we should maybe look into.
I got an idea, perhaps, now that you said it, what if we were to steal a book out of the junior side? Because they also have 3 conferences.
Yeah.
BFC, PFC, OFC. And maybe we manipulate different ways to how we do it to where the 2 AFL finalists, number 1, number 2, play either then the Power 5 number 1 and NFC number 1, right? You put those 4 teams in the bracket, however they shake down, where it's like top seed, most points. I think you add the point to rank it out to points against whatever the schedule is, and then have it to where it's like, okay, this is the national semifinal, and then the following week you have the national final.
Yeah, that would actually be really interesting. I mean, I think that that would just be a smart thing to do. I think that would bring more eyes to everywhere. I think that would possibly bring more sponsorships to the leagues. And I think that if you got all these boards together and you just started to hash something out, that you could come up with something. And it doesn't have to be permanent the way we do it in the first year. I mean, we can play around with it, but I think that would really enhance the league and we'd get a true national champion. And I don't see why, outside of logistics, which I think can be worked out, that that's not something that we should really look at. So, I mean, again, going back to just the original question, I think there's just so much room for improvement from the board perspective, from the national championship perspective, from the team perspective, and building up teams to be a more competitive league. We've got to find ways to get more good quarterbacks in this league because really there just wasn't, outside of Daryl and Chris Merchant, and
Rashawn. I know Rashawn's gonna want.
And Rashawn, who was only there for like half the time, right? So we just need more quarterback play. We need teams to step their game up recruiting, and we need to just make decisions from a board level that enhance the league and make it better.
And here's another question then for you: what's the ideal and maybe we can end on this. What's your ideal QB layout where each team has their quarterback battle, and like you know how like NFL they have like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, all the quarterbacks they have, and they know like, hey, top tier quarterbacks lead to top tier football and offensive football because that's obviously the exciting thing that everyone wants to see. When you list off each team, I take it like, say for example, like Wolfpack with Daryl, Gators with either Chris Merchant or Jordan Heather. Like who could you see now listing it down to like, hey, if we can get these either prospective players or players of the past to come back and have a top six, like, oh yeah, we got our six quarterbacks who are leading these offenses. We're going to put up points, yards, and everything. What would that roster be for you?
So basically, you're asking me who my top six quarterbacks of all time in the league are?
All time are, but then they got to be tied to a franchise. So the best of the
Oh,
Wolfpack, best of the Gators, either future for the Irish, future for the Cowboys, whatever it is. But like these next six rolling into next year.
wow. I mean, the Gators one would be tough. I would lean towards Jordan Heather just because I've played against him a lot more than I have against Chris. I mean, Chris throws an amazing ball and is an amazing quarterback. Jordan Heather, I've just always had so much respect for, playing DB against him and the way that he does things and manipulates offenses and his play action work. And I would probably lean towards him, more of a longer experience personally against him. Obviously, the Wolfpack, Daryl Eason, and obviously the Bucks, Brandon Lay. Like, I never got to catch passes from Jordan Heather. I caught one pass from Chris Merchant when I intercepted him one game. So, sorry, Chris, he told me not to ever mention that again. But Brandon Lay, in my opinion, throws the best football I've ever seen in my life. Like he would be, and look, I played under Daryl as well, and Daryl's great, and Daryl's definitely the GOAT of the AFL. If Brandon Lay played that long, he would definitely be the GOAT of the AFL. I mean, like, I used to run these corner routes when he was there, and I wouldn't break until like 20, 25 yards.
I remember this.
And then that's like everybody knows, if you know, that's insanity because corner routes are like 12 to 15 max, right? I wouldn't break. I would run on a straight line, with a little bit of weave, not obviously fully straight, but I would run down the field for 20 yards and then break it to the corner, and he would throw a perfect football. Now, you have to understand, this ends up being a 45 to 50 yard throw vertically. And because I'm running to the sideline, he's thrown from hash to side, and I'm no joking. Like, he would throw me to the sideline. He's thrown from hash to sideline, which is what, like 45 yards, something like that. Hash to sideline plus 45 to 50 yards vertically. Like, in total, it's like a 90-yard throw, and he would throw it in the bucket and perfect every time. And like, you can't defend that without bailing the corner 50 yards deep right away. No, like, and that's what teams started doing. And then that Z receiver just came wide open on 10-yard hooks every single time. And Brandon can obviously make that throw too, which is another hard throw that a lot of quarterbacks can't make. So just that experience alone, like watching the ball fly through the air, never having to break stride, and it hitting me in the perfect spot 98% of the time. Like, I think he maybe missed me one time in his entire life, and that might not even be true. So he's definitely the best that I've ever played against. If we look at Grand Prairie, the old version of the Grand Prairie Drillers had a guy named Nathan Aldred who was awesome. Like, he was so good. Really, really tough quarterback to play against. Great scrambling quarterback. He was very, very good. Cold Lake, obviously, it's Ray Sean. I don't even think that's up for debate. Edmonton isn't in the league, and they just suck all the time and never had any player that was any good. Who am I missing then? The Wolfpack. Airdrie. I mean, I guess it's Josh Williams. He's okay. I wouldn't say, they didn't have a lot of success with him, obviously, right? So I guess they made 2 AFL finals in a weak league 2 years in a row, and they got whopped by the Jets. So I guess it would be him. The Airdrie's had a quarterback problem for a long time. When you have to ask a DB to go play quarterback, with 2 practices, which I was obviously more than willing to do, and I had a great time doing it actually. But when you have to do that, it's obviously there's a quarterback problem there, so they need to figure that out. And if they can, that would be great. But if we had a league with like let's you know what we'll do? We'll send Chris Merchant to go play for the Irish. Heather comes back to the Gators. Then we've got Daryl Leeson, Chris Merchant, Jordan Heather. Lay comes back with the Bucks. Rayshawn with Cold Lake. My goodness, now that would be an exciting league to watch and play in.
Could you? This is now where I'm sure DBs would be licking their chops, being like, okay, like it's gonna you're gonna get tested, balls thrown everywhere, and like just imagine being able to be like, oh, like no one is safe from not getting any action.
Well, that's exactly it. Like those guys aren't going to be afraid to test any DB in the league, and they can make all the throws. So I think that would be just phenomenal. Like all those guys I just mentioned should like start a WhatsApp group chat and just convince each other to all come to the league and play against each other. I think that would just be incredibly amazing. And I mean, that would just be electric. Just thinking about that is like gets me kind of excited.
And then to end off here, what do you think it's going to take to get Brandon Lay out of retirement?
I think I can do it. You know what? Like, it's so funny because I love Brandon. I think he's honestly one of the most genuine guys you'll ever meet. He's a great father. He's a great husband. He's he's a very loyal person. He cares about his teammates. But he's a fiery competitor. Like he'll let you have it. I remember one practice we were at, and the receivers were just kind of dropping balls, and Brandon's a very quiet guy. Like he just goes about his business, shows up, goes about his business. But anyways, he kind of huddled all the receivers out and basically called us all shit. And it was me, Xavier, Ben. Like it was a good receiving core, but we were having a tough day, I think, in practice doing drops. And I'll never forget. He's just like, "You are receivers. Your only job is to catch the football, so you need to catch the football." And I'll never forget that because I was kind of like, it was before we'd even played any games. Like it was preseason practices, and I was just like, "Bro, like I can never drop a ball again because I don't want to be yelled at by Brandon Lay again because like you don't expect it." And when I say yelled, he wasn't actually yelling. It was just he was sick and tired of us dropping his perfect passes, and rightfully so, called us all out and didn't have any fear that receiving core was pre-stacked with a lot of veterans, but he didn't care. And all you can do is respect that. So I would love for him to come back. I think that I'm trying to use the, you want your kids to watch you play football because I don't believe they have. I'm pretty sure they haven't. So my daughter next year will be at an age where we can go on play dates with his kids. And if I can get him, at a park or something with the kids playing, and I might, maybe a football slides its way into my backpack, and there happens to be a field there, and I accidentally brought some cleats, and I can get him out there throwing me the football or throwing the ball to my daughter or whatever, and maybe that'll get him the love back because I know he does love throwing the football. So I got a couple subtle plans. I don't know if he listens to the podcast. I might have just given them all away, but now every time I ask him to go for a play date, he'll probably just say no. So I don't know. It'd be cool if he came back, though. It really would.
You look at next year and everything. Like, I think the league's in a good spot. I think our trajectory is going up. I think you add a higher level of quarterback play. Oh man, I feel like you would see close to 2.5 times more offense yards put up just with the fact
that's
of
what we need.
Yeah.
We need that. We need competitive games. Like I want to play in games that are like 35-28. You know what I mean? That's what the people play to see. Look, I play a lot of defense in my life. And I love stopping offenses, but let's be honestly real. Like how many people are out there playing fantasy football with just defensive players? I think that's kind of lame. So how many fans are coming out to watch defense unless it's your son or your husband or whatever? Like people want to see points. People want to see the good stuff. People want to see the ball thrown all over the field. Like that's what's exciting about football. And we've got to find a way. Teams got to find a way to get that quarterback, and you got to build your team around that because that's the most important position on the field. And we've been lacking in serious depth at QBs across the league for a really long time.
Hmm. Agreed. But I think that's it from our end. What we got here. Like, any score
Sweet.
predictions for what you got tomorrow?
Yeah, I think the Gators will win 42. I think they'll win 42-3. I'll give Grand Prairie 3 points. The thing is like when I watched the offense of Grand Prairie last week, I was disappointed in the Jets because like Grand Prairie kept running quick outs and quick screens all game long, and there was no adjustment by the Cold Lake secondary. There was no adjustment by the Cold Lake defense. They just kept running these dinky little out routes. You're not going to be able to do that against the Gators. I don't think they're going to be able. They 100% are not going to be able to run the football. I don't think they're going to be able to throw the football unless, again, they get some serious breaks. I can't see them putting up points unless it's, like I said, a scoop and score or something like that. I don't think the Gators make very many mistakes. I don't think they will tomorrow. I think it'll be 42-3. That's what I think.
It's I think it's going to be because I think the one thing I could see an absolute like I could see the Grand Prairie defense absolutely just flying around. Dominic Fudge, Ty Cluett, Chad Weeb, Sophie Fujita, as Isaiah Rogers, all just having games of their life, and I think like I could see those guys. I could see another great wall of Cowboys scoring because I feel like I can see the defense scoring once or twice. If the Gators make a mistake with a fumble or an interception, I do want to give I think that on that play the edge to the GP to where then they can turn it into points. I think that's where GP's strong suit has been. Any mistakes that an offense has made, they're quick to make points of it defensively for the team. If I had to like give them an edge there, and I like a look at that to where like I know our last game against the Gators, we had a fumble and the Gators took it back for a touchdown and everything. So I feel like Gators again very close in strength in there. You want to hear a funny stat? Daryl just did the stats for our game against the Gators. We had 202 passing and no rushing attempts.
No rushing attempts?
No, the one we had, it was short yardage. It was like dive toss option, and we needed 2 yards. We needed 2 yards, and Daryl I guess faked it to me, tossed it to our other running back, and I guess it was a mistake. I guess timing didn't work out, and like Daryl tossed it, and he wasn't there, and then the ball was on the ground, and it went, and so it was unfortunate.
So your one run play was taken back for a touchdown.
For a touchdown. So we're just like,
that
oh,
is
great.
yeah, okay. I think you need to call Guinness because that's definitely a world record. One rushing attempt for negative 90 yards, or however long the return was on a touchdown. That's pretty bad.
I like the thing is too. I got to the line and I was like, oh, I felt I would have got the turn. I felt like I got the 1 or 2 yards. It would have been a pile up. Cordell and Anthony Tonga who probably would have met me in the hole and like fought for it. But I feel like I could have gone the 2. And I'd like turn around and I'm like, oh shit.
So that's funny. That's the old fullback dive, halfback pitch play from like Madden '95 that Daryl likes to use every once in a while. I think that you guys ran that against us in the same situation, but he did give it to you and you got the first down. But that isn't an unreal stat, and it doesn't really shock me because obviously you guys had to really try to throw the ball and score points. And Daryl does love throwing. But hey, 200 yards. That's still pretty good against that defense. I don't think they've had 200 yards on them all year.
No,
passing, so.
And when I looked at the stats, we were the only team, I guess, that's the most offensive production against the Gators, which you say like a double-edged sword, like we did that, but no points.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough
do,
tough
right?
to quantify. I feel like the only time I think you can quantify from it is those guys can watch it and say, oh, hey, like how did Daryl pass against us on that? It's basically just a skelly for them to look at.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure they are. I'm sure, they got the coach of the year down there. I'm sure they're looking at all the fine details and try to find different ways to move the ball. But like you kind of said, like even if you move it, can you get in the end zone? Like it just becomes tough against that team to move the football to a point where you're actually, scoring points. So I'm not as optimistic as you are for the final score. I think 42-3 is going to be kind of where it lands. I'd actually like to just say 42-0, somewhere around there, but I'll give him something. I hope personally that I'm way wrong on that. I hope it's a more entertaining game than that. It's just like, how do I sit here and actually say that it will be when that Gators team is just, at a completely different level? And I don't think that the Grand Prairie offense is going to be able to match. I think the Grand Prairie defense can do some things, but when you've got Bryce Harper running the football, that offensive line, those receivers, and of course Chris Merchant back there throwing the rock, it just becomes tough. So I wish Grand Prairie safe travels, even to Samson and Will. I don't like you, but I don't wish any harm upon you. So I hope you all have safe travels down there. And call me on the bus ride back. We'll go live maybe for the podcast, and we can talk about the game at that point. Omari, go ahead and close this out.
Hey, appreciate everyone tuning in. And here we are again. AFL final for 2025. A lot of exciting football. I think on all fronts, everything. And it all comes down to this, who's going to sit in the throne. It's going to be an exciting time, exciting game. Hope there's, I think, a lot of excitement. I think we need a game here just to really blow the top off. And, I think there's a Cinderella story with the Cowboys. Then you have the, chasing history with the Gators. So 2 storylines here. One's got to end. One's going to continue. Who's going to be? Place your bets here on AFU bets and go from there.
You know what? Next year we should actually, just for fun, we should start setting lines for games and get guys to bet. We'll become bookies, but we'll just we'll bet my baked goods or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, something funny. It'd be fun to kind of set a lines, or I wonder if we could I don't know, that'd be kind of hard. I was thinking, I wonder if we could if there's an app that we could set up AFL fantasy, like DraftKings daily fantasy or something like that, or season long fantasy. That'd be kind of cool.
I think there's a way, and I think with the new stat sheets that the league has put out, Becker's put out, you can actually see, everyone's stats and who put up where, and maybe do a PPR, hey, you got this many points this week,
Actually,
who
that'd be sick. Yeah, even if we just kept track of that kind of stuff, and but yeah, it would be delayed obviously because guys have to do the stats; it wouldn't be live. But I think that's something we should look into next year on the podcast, doing some sort of fantasy, AFL fantasy, and AFL fantasy draft or something like that. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go put my baby to bed. Good luck everybody tomorrow. I know Omari's gonna be there streaming the game, bringing that to you on Alberta Football League YouTube page. I hope lots of people can tune in. I think regardless of how the game goes, it's the AFL Championship. It's going to be a great time for all involved. I believe it's in Airdrie, and that's going to be cool. A good experience, nice field. Hopefully, get a lot of fans. So, Omari, have fun there tomorrow, and we'll chat. We might be looking to do some sort of live halftime panel. We got to figure out the logistics of that, but we might try to bring you the guys that live. If we do, I'll definitely post on the Facebook forum, and we'll go from there. All right. Thanks, guys.